Actually, inheritance is a kind of relationship. It makes superclass-subclass relationship. Also, we call this type of relationship as is a relationship. It means that relevant subclass is a type of relevant superclass. Basically, inheritance is used for code reusability and polymorphism, but inheritance is not suitable for very big class hierarchies because it makes huge dependency. To inherit in Java, we use extends keyword, and there are four types of inheritance in programming. They are single inheritance, hierarchical inheritance, multiple inheritance, and multi-level inheritance. But Java don't allow to use multiple inheritance because it makes ambiguity. But we can implement multiple inheritance using interfaces because then we can prevent ambiguity. Okay, let's do some practicals. So this is my structure to teach you inheritance. You can see here I have a car class, and I have Agera class, and I have Mustang class. In car class there are some protected fields. Car name string, engine capacity string, number of doors, integer, max speed, integer, is disc brake, boolean, color, string, price, float. So as you can see here, there is a single variable for Agera class and Mustang class. They are is Agera logo boolean, is Mustang logo boolean. But all the variables, all the protected variables in car class are available to Agera class and Mustang class because of the inheritance. Okay guys, here you can see I have implemented inheritance. In my inheritance package you can see there are three classes: Agera, car and Mustang. If I go to the car class, you can see it is the base class. There are some common properties for a car class here, and there is a constructor, default constructor, and there is a parameterized constructor, and there are some getters and setters for the variables. Okay, let's we move to the Agera class. You can see Agera class is inherited from car class. It's mean the all variables named protected in car class are available to Agera class. And other thing is, you can see I have a default constructor in Agera class and I have parameterized constructor in Agera. So inside that parameterized constructor, you can see I have called superclass constructor. This is called constructor chaining. And you can see there is one variable for Agera class is called is Agera logo, and there are getters and setters for that single variable. If you go to the Mustang class, it is very similar to Agera class. You can see default constructor, parameterized constructor, and getters and setters for is Mustang logo. Okay, let's we move to application class. So as you can see here, in my application class I have initialized Agera and Mustang because I have used protected variables in car class. Their variables are available to subclasses. So here what I have done is I just initialized parent class once I initialize the subclass, and I use superclass getters to access data. You know, I just have a single variable in Agera and Mustang. Because of inheritance, I am able to use base class getters here. So this is called code reusability through inheritance. Okay, before we do practicals, let's we study what is an abstract class, what is an interface. Okay, what is an abstract class? Actually, abstract keyword used to initiate abstract class, and it hide the implementation. Because it hide low level implementation, it reduces the complexity. Abstract classes cannot be initiated, and abstract class can have both abstract methods and concrete methods. I think you know concrete methods are the method which can have declaration and implementation at the same time. If you inherit from an abstract class, you have to implement all abstract methods in abstract class inside your subclass. But keep in your mind, you cannot create instance of an abstract class. But you can create object references. As well as you cannot extend more than one abstract class to a subclass. Because abstract class cannot be initiated, it is not a part of object hierarchy. Because of the above reasons, normally we use abstract class as superclass in runtime polymorphism. Okay, let's look at our example. Here I have implemented a class called A as abstract. It has a variable, but it is not static final as in interfaces, and it has a concrete method and it has an abstract method. Okay, let's go to the class B. The class B is extended to the class A. So I have to implement all abstract methods in class A. As I said, I have override calculate method here. Actually what it does is abstraction. There is another method called display name. The display name method is not in abstract class, but that display name method acts as a variable in abstract class. Okay, let's move to the class C. The class C is extended to the class A. As a result, you have to override calculate method here. But here calculate method is add the two variables instead of subtraction. Okay, let's go to the application class. Here you can see I have created an instance of class B as well as class C, but they are reference to a variable of class A. As I mentioned before, you can create reference variable from abstract class, but you cannot create object from abstract class. Here you can see if I run this solution, they behave like this. Class B going to subtract the variables, class C going to add the variables. Actually this is a kind of polymorphism I will talk about in later videos. So what is an interface? We use interface keyword to declare an interface. We use interfaces to implement is a relationship. Interfaces cannot be initiated and it contains abstract methods only. But since Java 8, interface can have default methods. In an interface, fields are public, static, final. Even we don't declare them as it is. Okay, let's study another part of inheritance. As you know, Java doesn't allow you to implement multiple inheritance. As a solution for that, you can use an interface. Okay, here I have a simple interface called A, and B and C are the subclasses that implements the interface A. If we go to the interface A, you can see there is a simple default method and abstract method. Since the calculate is abstract, you have to override that method in B and C classes. Simply B class is add two variables and C class subtract variables. Okay, let's go to the application class. As you can see here, I have initiated class B and C, and they are point out to the reference variables of interface A. And I call the display method and calculate method. The display method
behave in common way here because it is a default method, but calculate method doesn't behave in similar way because I have override them inside B and C. Okay, let's see the results. Actually, there are four types of inheritance in programming. They are single, multi-level, multiple, and hierarchical. In multiple inheritance, it leads us to ambiguity. So Java doesn't allow to implement multiple inheritance. But we can use interfaces to implement multiple inheritance. Let's see how to do that using interfaces. Okay, let's discuss what is this ambiguity. Just focus the image in red color. You can see the C class is inherited from class A and B. Let's imagine there is a method called add in class A and B. And I'm going to create an instance of class C and invoke the method called add. So what happened at runtime? Actually, in runtime, it cannot be decided which add method to be called because both A and B has an add method. So this is the ambiguity I'm talking here. Okay, if you implement two interfaces to a subclass, you have to override abstract methods in both interfaces. But imagine there is a method called add in both two interfaces. But end of the day, you have only one implementation for that method called add. So there is no chance for the ambiguity. Okay, let's move to our implementation. Okay, let's move to our implementation. You can see we have interface called A and it has a method called display, as well as in the interface B it has the method called display, and there is a normal class called C and it implements both A and B. So it has to override display method here. So as you can see here, there is only one implementation, so there is no ambiguity here. So let's go to our application class and we create an instance of class C and we call display method. So it simply display the implementation of display method in class C. Let's run our project. Here is the result.